All right, welcome, friends. Another episode, Believe in Big Ten, off and running here as we get you set for the college football playoff. The inaugural 12-team format, of course, features 4 Big Ten teams, 3 of which will get going this weekend, starting Friday in South Bend with Indiana and Notre Dame. Alongside Tom Hannafin, I'm Rhett Lewis. Excited to be here with you. Excited, Tom, to go to Notre Dame for the first time right here. Bucket list item.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, and it's going to be freezing, but I'm fired up for it. I've got a ton of friends going. I actually played with a quarterback who started his career at Notre Dame. Name was Matt Lavecchio, and he played 2 years there at Notre Dame, led them to a Fiesta Bowl appearance as a true freshman, then hit the no transfer portal then, did the straight up transfer, sat out a year, and then was my quarterback at Indiana for 2 years. So he has confirmed to me, though, for any Notre Dame fans listening, that he is all cream and crimson in this game. So just wanted to get that out there. He will not be wearing a split jersey, okay? This is all cream and crimson. And look, I'm fired up to talk with Elijah Sarratt, wide receiver at Indiana, who's been such a key piece of their offensive success this year. That conversation is coming up, Tom. So a lot to get to here on another busy episode.
Believe in Big Ten is presented by BetOnline. BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with constant, real-time odds and action and the ability to watch the games as they happen with the largest selection of odds on everything from the college football playoff this weekend, the NFL, the NBA, college basketball, the NHL, and even UFC. Head to betonline.ag today and don't forget to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. Believe in Big Ten is presented by BetOnline. The game starts here.
So before we get to Joe Theismann and Elijah Sarratt, we're going to give you our take on these 3 games that are going here with the Big Ten, starting with in chronological order here, Tom. We're going to start with Indiana and Notre Dame. And for each game, what we're going to try to do to kind of give this a little structure with the preview is a star, a guy that is a star power type of player that needs to shine for their team to win. We're going to give you a key to victory, and we're going to give you an X factor. And we'll see how that rolls through. So I will start it off here, Tom, for us on the Indiana side here as they go in. I think, look, the star power has got to be Curtis Rourke. It has to be. He's got to have his best game as an Indiana Hoosier. And he's had some dang good games now. Talk about the performance last time out against Purdue. He was virtually flawless and extremely productive. Got to find a way to throw his receivers open sometimes. There's going to be a lot of man coverage here in this game. And I think that this is a game where he's got to have that back shoulder throw to Elijah Sarratt, who, as we mentioned, going to join the show a little bit later. They got to have it rolling through the air because I think the physicality part of this one, is going to be tough to deal with because Notre Dame can really get after it. So that's my star. How do you see it?
I think the star for Indiana, in order for Curtis Rourke to have a better day, Justice Ellison has to have a very good day. And he did have success against Ohio State. I know a lot of people will talk about the scoreboard and things got completely out of hand. Listen, there were openings for Justice Ellison to run the football in that game. And that's the best competition that Indiana has played all year. If they can perhaps duplicate that and do even better against this Notre Dame front, it's not going to be easy, but you can take a lot of pressure off of Curtis Rourke. And considering it's going to be cold weather, nasty late in December, could be really snowy, nasty conditions, could be difficult to throw and catch the football. So the running game for Indiana has to be a star.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that's actually going to lead me right into my X factor. I think this is a game where you could see the time of possession become a factor for Notre Dame with the way that they want to run the football. So Indiana, I think, really has to make efficient and productive use of their possessions. And when you're looking at the pass game for IU, as I said, you're gonna have to win one-on-one matchups with the wideouts, the tight ends, and even the running backs in the pass game. And to me, again, the X factor that I see is a guy named Keyshawn Williams, who has been, kind of a real jitterbug at the top of his routes. I think he's a guy that can find a way to create separation in the slot for Indiana. He and Miles Price really kind of fit that bill to me. So again, he's going to be my X factor in this game as a guy who could end up shining, especially if he's able to create some of that separation through man coverage. Do you have an X factor that you like in this one?
I think the X factor is Riley Leonard for Notre Dame. And it's kind of which version of Riley Leonard are you
I
going
like
to
that.
get? Because I remember Ohio State going into the game against Michigan. There was a lot that Urban Meyer talked about. They have to make Will Howard the primary runner so that you have the man advantage. I could see Notre Dame trying to do something similar against Indiana and just trying to bulldoze their way to a victory. If the Indiana defense can somehow clog this thing up, load up the box, and make this really difficult for Notre Dame to run the football, is the answer putting the game on Riley Leonard as a passer? I think that's probably the best chance for Indiana to have success defensively. And if Riley Leonard is somehow able to overcome that, his play has improved as the season has gone on as a passer. If he overcomes that, there's not much more Indiana can do against this Notre Dame team that has a lot of momentum right now, to be fair.
Gosh dang, broadcast professional, Tom, you're leading me right into the key to victory here, and that is
He didn't
make
talk beforehand.
Notre
Yeah.
Dame play from behind for Indiana. Make them play from behind. Make them feel like they have to throw the ball to win. And you're going to do that by utilizing the best rush defense in the country that Indiana has put on tape each and every week, even, against the toughest rushing teams on their schedule this year. I know they let the explosive play up in that Ohio State game that, kind of really turned the tide in that one. But this is going to be their biggest test on the ground, and in terms of being able to stop the run with Notre Dame. So they're a little healthier in the running back spot here. So again, that kind of ups the ante for the challenge, but that is the key to victory. Stop the run and then build an early lead and watch Notre Dame try to deal with coming from behind in the elements and in the pass game.
I think the key to victory, if you're a Notre Dame fan, is pressure on Curtis Rourke. And I don't know if that's something Notre Dame is going to be able to do to the same effect that Ohio State did, for instance. I think Ohio State has better personnel in that department. And listen, Notre Dame has an outstanding defense. They will grind it out with Indiana. However, if they cannot get Curtis Rourke off schedule and put them behind the sticks in terms of down and distance, then Notre Dame's going to struggle to keep points off the board for Indiana. So that's something for Curtis Rourke to keep in mind in this game.
Let's move to Penn State, your alma mater. Of course, check out Tom on the State of State, a Penn State football show. He and Justin King do a great job. They're working you through the intricacies of this team and their matchup. So we'll hit the headlines here, and I'll cede to you. Star power that needs to shine in this game for Penn State. What do you got?
I think it's going to be Abdul Carter, defensive end for Penn State. The way that Clemson's front seven really affected Kevin Jennings, quarterback for SMU, and this SMU offense altogether for much of the ACC championship game was glaring. The tackles for SMU really struggled. The best case scenario that most of the competition against SMU has had this year in terms of affecting Jennings is getting home with 4, not necessarily designed blitzes. He's very shifty. He can get out of the pocket. He can make things happen with some backyard ball. I think Abdul Carter and Denai Dennis Sutton are going to eat the proverbial lunch of these tackles for SMU, and especially Abdul Carter getting snubbed for the Nagurski Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten for sure. But I think Abdul Carter is going to eat on Saturday.
Yeah. So the star power for me, and again, this is a caveat because no one's been able to stop Tyler Warren from being an impact player. So it's just like, that's like an inevitability. It's just a matter of how impactful, right? And like how absurdly impactful it might be. So for me, the star power that really needs to step up and shine, and this is based off what we saw from the Penn State offense against Oregon and how good they looked when Nick Singleton and Katrin Allen are both rolling in the run game. So those are the two, and yeah, kind of cop out there picking two, but they are really one and the same in terms of how they, how Penn State wants to use them to affect the game on the ground. And I just think that opens up so many different avenues for Andy Kotelnicki to call these plays and to attack this SMU defense. So that is my star power piece. How do you view the X factor conversation in this one?
Well, you kind of bleed right into my thing. It's like we're on the same brain. It's unbelievable. If Penn State can duplicate the rushing performance that they had against the best team in the country, Oregon, in the Big Ten championship game, yes, Penn State lost that game by a possession. They racked up 292 yards rushing on the game. Far and away, Penn State's best performance offensively all season long. Despite that, 2 interceptions and some costly penalties limited Penn State in terms of catching up to Oregon. They got behind the sticks early in terms of a 28-10 score there about midway through the second quarter. If Penn State can duplicate that performance running the football, I feel they'll have a lot of success against SMU. And to the points that you just made, Katron Allen is a Frank Gore-esque running back between the tackles. Try getting hit by that dude for 4 quarters, especially when Penn State's defense really ratchets it up in the second half. You don't want to tackle that. You don't want to tackle Tyler Warren, and you don't want to tackle the rest of Penn State's tight ends for that matter. I kind of expect Penn State to play a little bit of bully ball.
I like that. I'm going to go for my X factor. I'm going to go with Jalen Reed in the secondary. I know this secondary has missed Kevin Winston since he went down, with the injury. But I like the way, this is a smart player. I actually talked to Tom Allen, defensive coordinator for Penn State, a little bit about Jalen Reed earlier this week, and man, just loves the way that dude plays the game, understands what they're doing to attack offenses, what's required of him back there in the secondary. I just think that he could be a guy that gets his hands on the football, guy that makes plays around the ball, has a good instinctual awareness for where he needs to be and to make a play. And I think he could make a few of them in this one. And then for key to victory, we kind of talked about a little bit with the run game on Penn State's side. What else rings true for you?
I think Drew Aller has to play a clean game. And that was the thing against Oregon is the first interception was thrown behind his receiver. The second interception was just a bad mistake in terms of reading the coverage. Drew Aller rarely makes bad mistakes in terms of reading the coverage, especially, again, possibly inclement weather. It's difficult to throw the football. He has to be mistake-free, and that's not playing conservative or shy. You have to be aggressive. And there's going to be opportunities, too. This SMU secondary is talented, but playing a cover 3 scheme, that's going to open things up for Tyler Warren to get down the seam, and it should open up things underneath for Drew Aller. So if he can pick apart the zone, Penn State's going to have a lot of success. But again, I do think it starts with running the football well for Penn State.
And of course, great news for Penn State that even if they do fall in this game, it will not be Drew Aller's last, announcing his return to Penn State for next season. Not the same for Bo Pribula, but you can follow that storyline as we continue this crazy month of December in college football. Transfer portal
football. That's
college football playoff, the whole deal. Let's finish off our previews by looking at the Ohio State-Tennessee game. And we'll rapid fire through this one, but the star that needs to shine in this one, it's Jeremiah Smith for me. I think he's got just takeover ability, and we got to see it. And we got to see it. Now, look, Tennessee's got a terrific defense. They've got really good corners, but this dude was a transcendent player in college football as a true freshman and needs to show up in a way that we really didn't see the Ohio State pass attack show up against Michigan.
And I blame that on the coaching staff. If you have a freak of nature standing right over there, but you're committed to running the ball for like 1.5 yards per carry, it was silly at one point. Force feed him the ball if you have to. And if you can't get it to him, you have a Mecca Ibuka and Carnell Tate standing right there. Throw the dang ball.
X factor for me in this one is Cody Simon, linebacker for Ohio State, because Tennessee will still try and spread you out, and they'll try to use every inch of the field, but they have been a run team this year, more so than we've seen in recent years in Josh Heupel's tenure there at Tennessee. And I think that Cody Simon, even Sonny Styles to a certain extent, the second level of that group, Tyleik Williams up front, but in particular, Cody Simon, not wanting this to be his last game as a Buckeye, I think could end up making a ton of plays in the run game, keeping those 2 and 3 yard runs from going for 12 or 13.
I think it's Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava. Got that out without stumbling. Pretty happy about that. Nico has struggled in some of the biggest games this year for Tennessee. That being said, he has star potential. He can be this big-time quarterback. Is this a coming out party at the Horseshoe in Columbus, where it's already a fan base that's not exactly thrilled with their team right now? If Nico and company can get out early, that could set them up for a lot of success. But Josh Heupel has to remember to run the football. They can do that well, but they love to get pass happy. Nico can change things. Okay, the key to victory for me for Ohio State is a fast start. I think there's a lot of trepidation about what this environment is going to feel like, even in a, quote unquote, friendly confines situation for the home team. How much of the Michigan game is still on the minds of the fans that will be at the Horseshoe, and how much of that can be erased if, let's say, Ohio State jumps out to a 14-0 lead in this game and everyone gets on board the train that could end up with, that whose final destination could be a national title in Atlanta. And that would soothe a lot of the unrest that we have seen in Columbus. So to me, it is get out to a fast start, get those fans back with you, make that place entirely hostile on a young quarterback. Meanwhile, there's Buckeye fans that are hoping for Final Destination, the movie, to happen to Ryan Day. So
Oh,
Tennessee, defensively, you
yeah,
have to make this really difficult for Will Howard. You need to
yeah.
put him in positions where he's going to make mistakes. If he's going to put the ball in the air considerably in this game, there's going to be opportunities to be had. Ohio State, I still feel strongly they'll win this game. They need to force feed their stars offensively and defensively. They need to ruin Nico's day.
There you have it. Some keys to victory, some players to watch in the three Big Ten tie-in college football playoff games. Obviously, the game that does not feature the Big Ten is Texas and Clemson, which will be a fun watch as well. And then, of course, Oregon awaiting the winner of Tennessee and Ohio State in the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. Okay, a lot more on the way here for you in this episode. We'll have a conversation, as we said, with Elijah Sarratt, all on the way. It's game week, Hoosier fans. Game week for the college football playoff. Let's go. How fired up are we? I know I'm fired up to welcome you. I am Rhett Lewis, and I am joined today by a true playmaker. We are so fortunate to have had the services of Elijah Sarratt this year. First year as a Hoosier, and certainly making history this year. Elijah, welcome to Under the Hood, my friend. Glad to have you a part of the program here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Look, I got to talk to you, man. So I played at IU. I was a receiver at IU, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There, 01 to 05. And I mean, I think everyone that suits up competitively like has dreams of playing in the biggest moments, right? And you think it is a possibility, but I don't know that I ever truly understood the reality of Indiana playing in a college football playoff game like this. But this has kind of been your year, man, resetting the bar, resetting expectation. How would you describe this ride?
Man, it's been great. We set out our goal. Personally, I've had that goal on my goals list. I see it every single day, college football playoffs. But I mean, you really just go with the flow. You don't really think about it throughout the season. You're like, yeah, it's a possibility, but anything happens. But we're here. We're excited. The season's been great so far, and we're not ready to stop. We're ready to keep on going.
I mean, look, no doubt, right? And for you, it's been kind of a crazy journey, right? One that starts at St. Francis,
Mm-hmm.
finds your way to JMU, kind of buried on the depth chart to start. You work your way up, right? Find your way onto the field where you become a huge impact player. Now you're sitting here on the verge of playing in the college football playoff, man. Like, like
Yeah.
have you taken a second to kind of let that part of it sink in for you and where you're at?
Honestly, no. I need to. But a lot of people tell me I need to like because I don't really do it a lot. But yeah, not really. Once the season's over, I'm sure I'll finally sit
There'll be
down
time for that.
and yeah, and let everything go. But I've been on full go since the season started.
Well, good news is season doesn't have to end
Yeah.
after this game, right?
Mhm.
That's the beauty of being in a playoff environment right here. Hey, what's been Coach Signetti's message to you guys this week? As now you're fully in game week, right? It's no more like, all right, we've got this extra time to prepare. Like this is it. We're into it, right?
Honestly, it's been the same message he's been preaching since day one of fall camp. Just eliminate the clutter, control the controllables, and go out there and treat it like any other game. We know what's at stake, but they're a regular team just like anybody else we played, and we're gonna treat it just like that. Well, we
Yeah.
put the work in the week, and everything else to handle itself, and that's what he's been preaching. That's what I feel like we've been doing this past week and the weeks that we've had off leading up to this game.
Yeah. And look, I think you're a guy that obviously embraces challenge, right? That embraces, hard stuff. And, I think for a receiver, like you live for the one-on-one matchups, right? You live for the opportunity to win your individual matchup, to present yourself available to the quarterback, go make a big play for your offense. And you're going to have that opportunity. Anybody who's watched Notre Dame, like that they're going to bring some man coverage from
Yeah.
time to time. Like, what's your mindset when you get into those types of situations as a
Oh,
runner?
that's great. I mean, football, at the end of the day, it's a game of winning your one-on-one. So, they give us that. They run man basically all game. They have they switch ups, of course, just like any other team. But when they got third down, they gotta make a play. They're gonna go to man. And for me, that's what you want. You want to be one-on-one with someone and be working them all game. And I'm glad to have the chance this week to be able to do that.
No doubt. And look, I think we've all enjoyed, seeing the ways, in which you can get open and win your one-on-ones, whether that's, on those, kind of slant routes, quickly to get you the ball, go make a play, whether it's deep down the field But one of the things that I love, because I know it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of chemistry, is watching you on those back shoulders with Curtis.
Yeah.
Right? We see that quite a bit. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that goes into that to get on the same page with your quarterback in those types of scenarios, and then kind of the techniques that allow you to win on some of those types of throws?
Just reps, really reps since I got here day one. Just accumulating those over time. Really it's a feel. We talking. I'm telling them if he's high shoulder, if they want DB wants to get to that high shoulder, back shoulder's gonna be there all day. But if they want to play that back shoulder, just throw it over my shoulder. Let me go get it. So just talking. We were just out. Just got out of practice. We were working on those type of passes. Just right after practice. So we're constantly working on it, constantly trying to find ways to get better at it.
No doubt. I mean, it's a constant process, right? And I think that's one of the things that's been fun to watch this year too, is the growth within the landscape of the season. I think a lot of times, you kind of, from the outside, there's the perception that, all right, you put the work in during training camp, now it's time to just like go game plan and play. But there's an improvement,
Yeah.
right, within yourself that happens from game to game,
Yeah,
as
really,
well.
really
Like,
practice to practice for real.
yeah,
Watching film, you think you had a good day in practice, and our coach is up there. Nah, you did this wrong. You need to do this better. So
right.
it's really every single day.
Yeah. Talk about your quarterback, Curtis Rourke here, and a guy like you who's come in and made an instant impact. He feels like to me like such a low blood pressure type of player, right? Like nothing really phases him. He's kind of like that level-headed type of guy, which I'm sure you love as a quarterback. You go back and you see him, nothing. Your guys, whether it's a good player or bad, he's unfazed. How do you describe kind of his mentality and the way he approaches the game?
Yeah, even kill for sure. Not too high ever, not too low ever. We've had our adversity through the
Sure.
years, through this year, and he hasn't folded out once. You always guys that played a lot of ball. They're like that a lot. So I'm glad he's here, and yeah, he's a great quarterback to have.
Got a little bit of that killer instinct to him too, though,
Yeah,
doesn't
he
he?
does. You gotta have that killer instinct to be doing what he's been doing. So it comes out every now and then, but
Yeah.
nah, it definitely shows.
Let's look at this wide receiver group that you get to spend so much time with, each and every day. And man, I feel like there's so many different avenues, right, that you can go to when you got a group this talented to win those one-on-one matchups, to win, on any given route. Whether it's Miles Price, Miles Cross, Keyshawn, has been a big time player, and then Omar Cooper's got an Anderson Kobe, right, with that speed. How do you guys kind of feel like you've come together as a unit and put yourselves in the best position to succeed?
Man, this closest group I've had since I've been in college, receiver wise, and that's not being a group of transfers. That's not very likely. A lot of times people butt heads. Maybe some dude's not getting the production that he wants, but it's for real been all love since day one here. The good thing about us, we have different skill sets, so we all can play off each other. We got some fast dudes, we got some dudes who are route runners, all that. So it plays well into each other, and really our personalities, we're all different too. So it just makes it fun. And I enjoy being around them every single day. Really, truly do.
Tell us a little bit about your coach too, Coach Shanahan, who you get to spend the day to day with, and obviously sends in the plays, each and every game, and has been such a great piece of the offensive success, kind of setting the messaging and setting the game plan with Coach Signetti and Coach Sinceri. But what's Coach Shanahan like as a guy who has been there and done that as a wide receiver in college football?
Yeah, my dog Coach Shannon, he cool for sure, but a little down to earth, but he
Yeah.
he takes care of his business. He puts his time in. That's one thing I do say. He's in here early, leaves late. I tell him some nights, hey coach, you need to go home and get some sleep tonight, relax a little bit. But he's on go all the time, and he really cares about the game, and it shows in the way that he coaches us hard and the way he coaches everybody hard. So great coach, great dude for sure.
He loves ball, right?
Yeah,
And look,
great
at
great
the end of
ball
the
guy. Yeah,
day, like that's the common thread that binds, great teams. You got just a bunch of dudes that love ball. And so
yeah,
it doesn't matter if it's 20 degrees, right? It doesn't matter if it's up in South Bend in enemy territory. Like it's an opportunity to go play a game you love with guys you love and respect. And man, that's what this feels like to me. It's like an opportunity to kind of man, it's just us, right? Like, let's go do this thing together as one.
Yeah.
How do you kind of feel, and how have you kind of talked about that with your teammates as you go into another hostile environment like you've seen a couple of times this year?
Yeah, I've been talking to guys every day. Just keep having fun with it. Keep that chip on our shoulders. You know, everybody, people still are doubting us. We don't really care about that. We just focusing on us going into away territory. I love playing away games personally because it is just you. Everybody going against you. You can third down. You can silence the crowd, make a big play. We just been working really. We're hungry and we've been working. That's what I can say.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of hunger, go get this win. Go find ourselves some Waffle House after. What do you say?
Man, I've been. You say you. I don't know if you heard me, but I say we need to build one here because we don't got one.
Hey.
That'd be a great spot, great late night spot to have, man.
Look, we're going to get all the Indiana wide receiver alumni. We're going to make it happen. We're going to find a way to get us together and find a way to get a Waffle House up to Blue.
It's only right.
Man, Elijah, pleasure to get to know you a little bit, man, to talk to you ahead of this big matchup. Appreciate you giving us some time here.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you as well.
All right, man. That's going to do it for us here. Hope everybody's going to get out there and try to make that trip up to South Bend and support the Hoosiers here on Friday night in the college football playoff. Until then, we'll see you next time. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. But for more of our thoughts, Tom and I, as we preview these college football playoff matchups, be sure to check us out wherever you get your podcasts. We've got much more content on the way. We'll give you some players to watch, some stars, some X factors, and keys to victory for all the Big Ten teams getting after it in this opening round of the college football playoff. Be sure to check us out on SiriusXM. You can search us on the SiriusXM app and find all of our content there, as well as YouTube on the Big Ten playlist on the Believe Network YouTube page. So we appreciate all of you for joining us each and every week here, and we look forward to seeing you after the college football playoff.